Today is, of course, now Sunday, because this is a new day. I've updated your health a little bit. You healed up a little bit from sleeping in the trash overnight. Not a lot. It's early morning. Very early morning. Like that kind of early morning that you only ever experience if you have to go to work for just a shitty shift, or for when you're doing like really, really long distance traveling. This is not the time of day that anyone with any rational sense of time wakes up. But that's you right now, waking up to someone. Now, there's a couple of things that you notice. First off, you're feeling a little bit better. Second off, Oscar will be coming in today, so you should probably make sure that you drop by the motel at some point. And third off, someone is standing directly next to you. Rolling over, it appears that Crystal is here. She just sort of looks at you and says, "No, did you sleep out in the alley all night? What are you doing?" So you say, "Maybe," as you nod and then cry and then do a little dab. I fainted here and not doing so hot. Can you help me out? Crystal just kind of gives you the look of someone who is just done with your shit already and says, yeah, we probably have a first aid kit in the store. What the hell did you do? What the hell did you do last night? I'll be right back. Just stay there. And then with that, she rounds the corner fairly quickly in order to go and get medical supplies from the store. Most grocery stores, most coffee shops, most stores have first aid kits. Mostly Band-Aids, not like actual things. All right, so try to remember who this Oscar person is. Oscar is your cat. You had them sent by mail. It's a thing you can do because you really couldn't be seen sneaking out of your apartment complex with your cat, and also you couldn't really get on the bus long ways with your cat. Generally speaking, the best way of getting it all the way to where you were staying was via mail. Where is your baby kitty? It's being sent to your apartment or your motel room this morning. Do we remember that we had previously forgotten Oscar? Sure. Anything along those lines is going to be fairly difficult for you to piece together, just because is No crying yet? No is in a constant state of crabbing right now. So yes. Are we just remembering your cat? Yeah, you're remembering your cat right now. But anything along the lines of remembering what happens with someone that you had forgotten previously and now remember creates a weird thing. Sort of like deja vu, but you know you've never been to a place before. Do you still have your journal? You do. You have your journal. You have the phone. Okay, so here's the deal with the phone. People have been asking about what the deal is with the phone and how that's going to work. I don't know enough about technology to give a great answer of this, but here is my assumption of how technology works. So phones, they have SIM cards, right? The SIM card would allow you, but each SIM card is unique. So your phone is not active. You cannot use your phone until it is activated, which will not be until a few days from now unless if you buy it. That being said, only one of them can be in use at a time. Does that make sense? You should be able to still call 911. I guess, yeah. Because even phones without SIM cards can call 911. That is my understanding of things. But that being said, Crystal has come back, and she's got, like, the weakest, probably worst possible first aid kit possible. It has, like, half a thing of expired, like, cleaning solution. You've got, like, 2 Band-Aids that have, like, clearly seen some water damage and just generally looks like it's understocked and probably not what you would actually need in a first aid kit, and probably is against, like, some sort of code compliance, but it's there. You clean yourself up with the bandages as best as you can. Write down the thing about Oscar so that way you can You don't need to self-cest. If the timeline changes and doesn't fuck things up, will you accurately roleplay as no? Just shovel dirt into my mouth? Probably. Make some time to jot down. Okay, so you jot that down. You clean yourselves up. Then you thank her, heal up, and head over to Home Depot. I'm going to give you a little bit of health back because you took care of your health. You're doing better. You can walk now. I wouldn't recommend, like, doing cartwheels, but, you know. Oh, can do attitude? Yeah, that should probably get bumped up as well. You know what? You're feeling a solid, like, 30 today. You're like, I got a mission. I got things to do. So you head on off to, you thank Crystal for her help, and she just sort of sighs and leaves you be. Did we ask Crystal about her boyfriend yet? I guess that was on the list fairly high up. You asked her, and she said he's fine. Did we ask him his name? Okay, do we want to spend a little bit more time here? We asked his name. Oh, if I recalled correctly in my notes, it was Christopher, right? Not the same Christopher. How can we be sure it's not the same Christopher? Fair? I'm just gonna tell you that it's not. There's no one in the Starbucks right now. So as far as like where the other no is specifically at any given time, I'm gonna try and do my best to kind of link that up. So no is currently not awake. The other no. It's pretty early in the day. It's really early. You can remember where you were to a relative degree of success a week ago. All right, so you decide to just go ahead and go. Okay, so then we can just, now that we've gotten that information on the boyfriend, you leave. There's no more clues to find in a back alley that you can find immediately. It's a back alley of a Starbucks. There's not a lot you can really figure out. You head to Home Depot. It's a little bit of a walk, but I mean, like, whatever, right? In the Home Depot parking lot, there are, however, and I don't have it on screen just because I don't have a good way of showing that. There are several Home Depot employees laying face down in the parking lot, just mumbling to themselves in different parking spaces. Just the normal thing that a Home Depot employee would say. Just being like, home. But Home Depot. Feel the burn. But just laying down on the floor. Home Depot. Buckets of fun. They're not injured. They're just laying on the floor. Like face down. Clearly awake, but also intentionally trying to pay no attention to you. You lie down on the floor or on the parking lot next to one of them, evenly spaced out, you know, and you say, hey, does anyone know where Jim is? I'd like to talk to them real quick. And then immediately after you yell, Home Depot! And then you kind of forget what you were going to do from there. You decide you need to go get a new journal and look for the manager. One of them turns to you. Well, one of them, without turning to you, just mumbles into the ground. Home Depot, please just go inside. We left the door open for you. Please do not talk to us. Thank you. Home Depot. Finger licking good. Just stole that one from chat because that's a good one. Save the cat? What cat? How injured are we? A lot of it is just like bruises. And it feels like you probably, like I described in the last stream, it was very much like the experience of being thrown down a flight of stairs and also just opening and shutting the door to a plane, like rapidly, like a kid that is trying to help the cat come in of like a normal door. You are not like, you're not okay, but like given some time, you should be okay. You definitely feel like you got the wind knocked out of you several times. There was definitely some heavy pressure changes, and you definitely threw up. Like you are, as a side note, a little bit hungry, but like it's kind of low down on the tier of things that you're worried about right now. It looks like, generally speaking, you guys want to, well, you can consult the journal. The journal has a recent entry that you put down apparently just a bit ago, talking about how your cat was going to be delivered this morning. You have no idea what that means, but that's probably a bad thing. Specifically, we're talking about the cat Oscar that you don't remember anymore. As far as getting a Home Depot robe, you should be able to find one inside. Alright. You head into the Home Depot, trying not to bother the Home Depot employees any further. You head into the Home Depot. It's completely empty. It's that weird feeling of being in a place that you're not supposed to be. A place that, like, normally sees a lot of traffic and is just empty. You guys did mirror check the alley last session. You didn't this session. But you did check it last session and found nothing. But anyway, you checked the Home Depot and yep, still fucking covered in blood that you can't see, so that's awesome. You put the mirror away. Did we keep our whole inventory when we came back in time? You left the cakes. Anything you were holding in your hands, for the most part, you dropped. I feel like the cakes you would have left. As with the, you probably would have kept the walkie-talkie and the mirror. Cake was in pocket. Okay. Well, if it was in your pocket, I mean, I don't think we really specified where things were. If it's in your backpack, it's probably there still. You have cake in your pocket. It's from next week. Sure. It's squished. It's gross. It's lining your pockets. Let's just say it's there. Great. Eat it. All right. As a free action, you'll eat the future pocket cake. It's disgusting. This was a regretful mistake that you've made, but you're less hungry than you were. It's the opposite of expired, I guess. How fresh would that cake be since it technically doesn't exist yet? It's a few hours old. It's a little bit on the stale-ish side. Anyway, you head to the area where Home Depot ritual is conducted. You get a Home Depot robe, put it on, I would assume. So yeah, you go ahead and dress up as a Home Depot employee in the Home Depot attire, complete with apron and robe. You find one that fits you. Suspiciously just laying out, available for you. And you wash yourself off in the sink as best as you can. You are slightly better. Sure, I'll give you a little bit for that. I'll give you a little bit of wellness for having, like, cleaned yourself up. See, and then you head over to, you get your gloves, you get a second journal, and you decide to go to the area where the ritual is normally conducted, sort of in the bathroom section. There's suddenly a very, very loud sound, as if all of the sound that could happen is happening, like a bang of a thunderclap, and then a sudden silence as he appears. Ooh, a little loud. Sorry about that. I know you must have a lot of questions, but before I can answer, you must know what the sewer before intervene. It looks like the winning responses are: do you have any relationship to that thing in the sewer? Jot down the names of the people in the journal. All journal segregated into the new journal. Write the Home Depot manager instead of entity, even though you don't remember. Copy down the entire profile. Okay, cool. So just as far as I can tell, that was copy down the information from the first journal into the second journal, but separate it in such a way that you don't leave like out information, and you separate it out so that way you remember what was from before the time thing and now. So you tell him what happens in the sewer, tell him about the bird, why are there employees outside on the floor, and cool. Okay, cool. Got it. I think I got everything. So, do you have any relationship to the thing in the sewer? Tell him about the thing in the sewer, and why are there employees outside on the floor? And does this time travel thing work like Homestuck or Back to the Future? All is possible. And whatever you in that sewer,
are related. It is impossible for me to state that is. I've asked employees to step aside to acknowledge your existence to the best of their ability. By knowing you, it would cause problems. It would cause confusion. Based on your description, it does seem that the creature is responsible for the erasing of your memories, and my memories, and everyone's memories. Time and space are connected. Those steps are redundant, pointless. Outside contact with you. Specifics in this are just as pointless now. And me like this will help me understand what happened and to who. Meters, inches, seconds, minutes.
So, back to what you asked. I asked her advice on what to do next. How did you know we disappeared? I asked what the plan should be now. I asked why we were brought back in time. Gotta strike that right balance for sure. And yeah. Where are you? How can we meet in person? What's up with the vomit on the bridge?
Would you have understood if I told you? You understand now? You had to be able to make these choices for me to assist you as I have. Intervention in choice of others is pointless. A predator kills its prey to survive. The changes bringing you here have caused problems enough it is. Rock parts a river. The river will never be the same, and yet the difference only matters to those who knew it well. While it is possible that I and whatever you met in that sewer are related, it is possible for me to know what state that is. I've asked the employees to step aside to not acknowledge your existence to the best of their ability. By knowing you, it would cause problems. It was confusion. What to do next is a difficult thing to answer. I do not have a good suspicion on how to the threat. This will be something that you determine. I have the knowledge this event would happen because it had happened and will happen and have happened. Know this. I was able to know that we're going to be in threat, and may I were able to save you once I knew when that would occur. Fortunately, I still not comprehend that in the sewer. Asking where I am is not relevant. Suffice to say, I am here.
Are you corporeal? It is a pulsing mass of, like, it's like seeing different bits of meat appear. Like, comprehending exactly what you're looking at is not easy. I've done a pretty decent job at doing the entity well in the GIF here, but it'd be a little bit more clean than that as far as like the different movements. But ask what will happen to Pass Snow when he gets to the sewer again. Is it safe to get near ourselves while wearing the robe? What are these locations that flash before our eyes supposed to mean when you saved us? Is Raymond related to the sewer thing? How many do-overs do we get, sir? Can we use the stuff in the Home Depot to better protect ourselves?
I have already saved you, no? That is what will happen. Human blood Understanding what would happen if you went near yourself is not in my purview. You have a concept of time and space that are not connected. That space separate things. They are not. They are one thing to which you cannot correct. I do not believe the creature doer is related to Raymond. Do you have some reasons to believe that? I do not believe it Earth singing again. I do not believe it is Earth saving you, singing again. It doesn't seem safe for your well-being or for my own personal interests to do so. You may take whatever you wish from this location. It seems I understand well what has happened. Interest in this and place has concluded. I wish you luck on your journey. Goodbye.
And with that, he disappears entirely, leaving a complete lack of sound for a moment and returning. You stand in an empty Home Depot. It's starting to be about afternoon. Church bells ring as it seems like church is letting out. So you decide to grab some money from the register. Sure. Let's go ahead and jack up your money supply because you basically don't have any money right now. In that it was taken. At my old job, we used to keep no more than $250 in each register, assuming that there's about like 10 registers. That's $2,500. That sounds about right. It's probably about average. Grab some money from the register. So you grab $2,500 from the register. You pick up some gardening supplies for horticulture. I don't really know what specifically you'd like. You don't really need that much. Do you guys need less? How much money would you like? How about I make a poll for how much? Because Chad is like, wait, no, not all of it. So let's look over the other things you're deciding to do while you decide how much money you actually want to take. Pick up some gardening supplies for horticulture. After stocking up, head to the bank. Heading around back to the church as to avoid no. And locate Gerald. So, alright, you guys look like you have voted for $420.69 as the amount that you want to steal from the registers. So you take $420.69. It takes you a minute to find the 69 cents. 420 is fairly easy. That's just like 2 registers worth of money. But the 69 cents, you kind of have to spend a little bit of time. So you put on your robe and you walk, well, you were already wearing it, but you head out back of the Home Depot through the fire or the employee exit and head on over to the bank. You head over to the completely legitimate bank that's across the street from the Starbucks and such. You're wearing the gloves, sure. Attempting to get inside proves fairly fruitless because it seems like it's closed on Sundays. Mirror here, sure. You scan your mirror around for a minute and find nothing. As you're looking at the there is one thing to note, and I don't think I really can show it in this image, but because some people are deciding to maybe go look at the apartments, there is a very bizarre connector that leads from the apartment complex to the bank. That is just a sort of like makeshift style like tunnel made out of like, I don't know, it's like a breezeway that's been covered over connecting the 2 buildings. It's not a secret, it's just sort of there connecting the 2 buildings. The only thing stopping you from going inside is pushing aside like the curtain thing. Sam does work at the bank. Do we have blood on ourselves in the mirror? No. Scanning yourself in the mirror, you don't have any blood on yourself that you can't see regularly. Most of which is being covered by the robes that you're wearing. You have the normal amount of blood that you would expect for someone who's just gone through some serious shit. Are we hot? You like to think you are. You like to think that you're a pretty good-looking person. I mean, every now and then you get that feeling that it's just like, I'm not really hot, am I? You look at yourself in the mirror and you're just thinking, man, what the fuck? But then it could just be that you're just not your own type. You know? I mean, your type apparently is monster, and though you have the spirit of a monster inside of you, and that's metaphorical for anyone who's gonna get weird about it, you do not have the outward appearance of a monster. So maybe you're just not your own type. No would actually be No's type. Or it's entirely possible that you do like yourself. I don't know. I'm actually not going to make assumptions on what you think. With very little effort, you push the, like, plastic curtaining that makes up the tunneling aside. It's basically staked in like it would be a tent or something. It looks very temporary. But it leads from a back entrance of the apartment complex to the bank. Both doors are locked, and doing anything with this is not very useful. Use the mirror on the connector. There's no blood in the mirror that you can see. The sides of the connector appear to have maybe been damaged at some point or another in a storm or something, and it looks like that this is some sort of temporary solution to the problem. While you're on your way to the apartment complex to see if you can find Gerald there, because, again, you've just decided that that is where you think he might be, and I have no other directions from you guys to decide where to go. You decide to invent a new name to use as an alias whenever you feel like you need to. So Abjur wins. So I'm going to assume, unless if you guys decide to change this at any point or actively try and confuse people, you are going to be going with the new alias Abjur, or just Ab, maybe Abby for short. Can I just say I read the thread about Abjur being, was it Rot 13? So 13 letters difference on each letter of nowhere, which is just like, can you guys be less clever than me, please? Middle name H, not like H as in Henry, H as in Hagrid. I can't think of any letter names that start with H. Henry, Harold. It's just H. H is for horny. Horny is your middle name. You know what? Yeah. All right, fine. Abby, horny, Jur. H can stand for whatever you want it to. It can even just be H. Anyway, you head slightly next door to the, like, closed-in, more or less, courtyard. That is the apartment complex. Use the mirror here. Nothing of value appears. You don't see anything new here. Find Gerald's nameplate. So, in most apartment complexes, maybe mine's just like this. There are building numbers, if there are multiple buildings, or building letters. Some way of identifying different buildings. So that way you go building F. H, for example. Building H. I live in building H, so just be looking for it. Or building 5, and you go look for building 5. And then from there, you try and find the appropriate, like, door number. So it'd be like door 500. In this case, it would be the same sort of thing. Gerald's name is not going to be anywhere available. All right, so you start looking for either Sam or Gerald. You spend some time kind of like looking around and end up spending a decent amount of time here knocking on doors, either not finding Sam or Gerald or, you know, not getting a response from the doors. People may not live there. People may not want to answer someone wearing a cloak. You spend a little bit of time. It's starting to get late when all hope seems lost in trying to find either of them. Someone rounds the corner to the apartment complex, and you immediately notice who it is. Gerald appears. He sees you hanging out in the Gerald area. Gerald isn't massive, he's just near. Unsurprisingly, like, most people look bigger the closer they are to you. Check him with the mirror? Sure. That's not conspicuous at all. You spin around and check him with the mirror. All you see is a confused-looking individual as you continue to stand in his Gerald vicinity, and then you decide to do that, spin around, and say, Home Depot, hello. I was looking for you. Home Depot. I am Abjur. What is your name? He says, hello, my name is Gerald. Are you looking for someone? This apartment complex is very confusing to get around. You immediately lead into ask to learn magic.
Are you a wizard?
Says,
Well, yes.
can you teach us magic? Says,
Did we meet yesterday? I feel like I've seen you before. You're new here, aren't you?
despite the fact that you're wearing a hood, it doesn't really cover your face. You tell him that a cosmological horror launched you through time. You explain everything. All right, so you just immediately launch into everything with Gerald. You tell him about everything that's happened, and you just tell him like, oh, dude, you would not believe the week that I've had and am going to be having. So, like, time stuff happened. And you start explaining it to him. You try and explain the situation as best as you can. You definitely see his eyes kind of like light up in like a "what are you talking about" sort of thing. And then you finish off with, so I basically, because of all of that, need to know time travel or magic missile. He says,
That's a lot. But theoretically viable, I suppose. Do you have proof?
so you show him the journal, which, in addition to a bunch of different facts, says where different people are going to be, about evidence about him having friends that you don't know anything about, or I guess it doesn't, because you wouldn't have been able to write that. You have all this information about like your cat that you don't know where it is, and when things are going to happen when they haven't happened yet. He kind of like stares at you for a minute and goes,
I see. This is... Would explain a few things. Alright, so... If this is true, if what you're telling me is true, then the events that are listed here should happen. And that should be evidence enough that what is going to happen will happen beyond that point.
so in the journal, as far as I remember, you guys have been writing down when you met up with people and when people were doing things.
So it seems to me that if what you're saying is true, I would be able to know where any of these people are in advance. So theoretically, if this is correct, tomorrow, then that means that what you're saying otherwise is true. If that is the case, if we find what you just said is true, and I am going to spend some time tomorrow looking into this, I will check and see if I can find out if that is true, and if it is, then I think we need to have a talk. I could stay hidden.
It is getting late, so you should probably start working out where you're going to sleep tonight. Did No meet with Gerald already? No's one and only interaction with Gerald in the initial time flow was meeting up with him on the first day when he was at the coffee shop bitching to you about his Facebook drama. You saw him day 2 on church. I guess so. Has Gerald 100% put together who we are? Well, you lied to him twice and then told him who he was, or you were. So I think he's confused about what your real name is, but otherwise he understands. Oh, you never did get it. He never did get your name because your name was stolen at that point. You're right. So he has no idea what your actual name is. Anyway, stress to Gerald that it's very important that he doesn't break the timeline. So you generally, it looks like all these are along the lines of like, don't do anything that would cause problems with the timeline. Don't interact with me outside of the me you see in front of you. And sign this journal, especially the bit about Christopher's. He says,
I understand. If what you're saying is true, then this is incredibly, important. I think
I think it would be best if you do stay here for the night. If what you're saying is true, I'm going to investigate it tomorrow. I have reason to believe that what you're saying makes sense. I seem to be having some lapses in my memory that I can't attribute to my regular old age. Things that I wasn't able to properly put together. I spent time at Starbucks yesterday, for example, and I don't know why. I don't like drinking Starbucks coffee. I don't like Starbucks food. But as far as I can remember, I remember going to Starbucks yesterday, and I have no reason to have gone. I have internet at my house. There's no reason for me to have gone there. So if that's the case, if what you're saying is true, then it would make some sense. I think this is something we should investigate, and I agree, we should definitely avoid any other version of you that exists. However, it will be very confusing for me to be able to tell the difference. So I'm just going to avoid contact with you unless if... Oh, jeez. What's a good way for us to know whether or not I can interact with you if that's the case? Should I just assume that I don't know you in all occasions?
The Home Depot robes, everyone in chat is saying.
All right. So I'll only talk to you about what we've talked about so far if you're wearing the Home Depot robes.
So then the password would be Gerald is, and he responds with the best. And then a robe and a friendship bracelet.
I don't have any materials to make a friendship bracelet, and I feel like this is all a little fast, so how about we just start with the password and the robes and the journal entry for now, and maybe we can work on a friendship bracelet later. Well, I just don't have any materials to make a friendship bracelet. We could make one tomorrow. I'm sorry.
That's fine. We can get friendship bracelet stuff tomorrow. Possible friendship. He sees you looking a little upset that you got not even friend zoned. Did he sign the journal? He signed the journal and checked off the information that he had. You got Gerald's phone number. What equipment would you have taken from Home Depot? Probably rope. Okay, how do you make a friendship bracelet? I honestly don't know. That tells you a little bit about my childhood. Rope and duct tape, those seem fine. You did have a spool of fishing line. You could probably use that. You could probably spend a little bit of time making a friendship bracelet out of duct tape, string, and rope. Are we staying with Gerald or not? I mean, that's up to you guys. Would you like to stay with Gerald or not? Chat is saying yes. Okay, cool. Say thanks to Gerald. Sure. Abby says it's time for stream to end, so I think it's time for stream to end.